Yes, no, maybe, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. It's Monday. It's Monday, but we're so close. We're so close. So I'm gonna. It's Monday and we're back in Unity. What's wait. I'm not sure what's wrong with this green screen. Used to be perfect and now it's. We're back in Unity. And I really don't want to do this. So, as you can see, background is broken in Unity because we just did fix that in Godot, right? Remember Friday? Stream on Friday? Thursday, Friday? We fixed the background, right? The moving. I started Unity and everything on my system is lagging again. Who would have thought? But the background transitions, everything is done, right? So should be pretty straightforward to get that done in Unity. Yeah, so it's more than a shader, right? Cause here it was literally just oh wait, here it was just literally 3-4 lines in the shader, right? But in Unity these things tend to be a bit more complex, and oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but we're so close. We're so close. I think maybe with a bit of luck this week might even be in reach. So, right, we just adding the background in Unity, adding music and sound effects. We do have the music. We do have the sound effects, right? We're almost there. We're almost there. And once we have parity, we can do all the fancy stuff, right? Like some of the fixes. That explosion in Unity still is not good. And then we can do some nice stuff. And actually, we can do a comparison. What was better, Unity, Godot? What was easier, less frustrating, value for money? And also result, right? If the binary, if one editor is super easy and the resulting game is, then we take the pain, right? But let's see where we go. So, background, right? So right now we have this background here. We do have the background. And one word about this, right? Called sample scene, having lots of stuff in there that gets initialized in random order, right? We shouldn't do it like this. We probably should just have an empty scene with one game object that's called, I don't know, game initializer that instantiates prefabs and scenes and resources. But then 99% of projects look like this, and that's why they are in trouble. So we're gonna go like, yeah, let's get to the goal line and then think about cleaning up later, right? So, game background. We talk about this thing, right? So, again, we could just duplicate this and then offset one by, I don't know, is it 1024, right? And just have it repeat like, it's some offset, right? What is actually the size of this? Where can I please just go here? Okay, we have to do it manually. There's no jump to asset. Let's textures, backgrounds, right? We have this one here. And this is 2048. Okay, so if we go here, that can't be right. Plus a half, right? No. $64. No. So something like this, right? I'm not even sure where the 55 comes from. We could do it like that and then scroll that through, right? We're not going to do that because we have massive overdraw here. Oh, it's going to be clipped, but why clip when we can just scroll the texture, right? And I went into that last time. So let's not do this. So how do I make a full screen rectangle, right? I mean, that should be pretty straightforward if this was on the UI layer. Right, if this was a panel, for example, we could just anchor it to all corners, but it is not a panel, so... So maybe, just maybe, right? And I would love to have it under here, right? Under the game. Can we just add a canvas here? What happens if we add a canvas here, right? That's not true, right? I mean, can I just have this canvas, please? Just... I can't even move it. I can't even move it, right? Can I? No. Why? So... Okay, same problem, right? I have to have it here at the very top. We're not moving the camera, right? So we could get away with just putting it here where the background is. And then using the main camera here. And then just have it anchored to... Right. Wait. That doesn't make sense. I hate Unity stuff. Where are we? Oh, there we are. Oh, did I... Is it -1, 0? It doesn't change anything, right? I can put whatever I want here. I want the full screen width, so I cannot use a world space canvas, right? I need to... This kind of feels right, because it's the same... I don't know why this camera is... This feels right? This background canvas, Unity, right? And then let's add a image or raw image. Add an image, add a raw image with our background texture, right? And just make this expand and then say, I still haven't found a way to, right? So this is our background, which is stretched now, obviously, which is stretched now. So we need to unstretch it because our aspect ratio is wrong. Why? Okay. So, right now it at least fills the background, but we don't want it to stretch. We want it to repeat, right? And it does. Oh, I always make this. I should do this instead of this. I don't want to hide it. I want to disable it, right? I was wondering why it's not stretched, but it is stretched, right? So this is stretched, and I don't want this stretched. Where does this come from suddenly? Where okay. Let's do a bit of undo, right? And that's the end of my undo buffer. Okay, let's do reset heart. No? Okay, let's go into Unity. Because all of this is done in memory, right? And we don't want to save it. Let's close Unity. It's eating memory anyway. Oh, I double clicked. Don't double click Unity. Don't double click in Unity ever. Well, in Unity Hub. Maybe I didn't double click. So, okay. This is the old way, right? And there's not this broken thingy in the middle. So when did I create the broken thingy in the middle? So we want in here under game, right? In the same position, we create the UI. Can we just put a raw image here? Let me just put a raw image. It automatically adds a canvas, right? And we put it at the background layer. The order doesn't matter, right? Let's go to the raw image real quick and drag the texture in, right? And then we say, we can just manually do this. All right, and then we say 0, 0, 0, 0. And then it's wrong because our canvas is screen space and we want, wait, we want a screen space overlay, right? Wait. Where's my background? Oh, okay. Obviously, right? So if I press play now, okay, that looks better. Okay, let's do this again. It's kind of silly. We just did that. Where what is this? What is what is what is this here? Why can't I select it? Why can I? Where? Who? I didn't add a sprite renderer and an animator to obstacles, did I? Did I? That's just a container object, right? Okay, maybe it was always there and we just didn't see it. Let's see what we broke, right? Okay, that's still working. That's still working. That is still working. The dying is still working, and the result. Okay, so let's just clean that up real quick, right? So, because this is just. Maybe when we dragged in the texture to create the animation, we accidentally dragged it on the node. Which would make me very sad, right? So we have this raw image, right? Let's call this background raw image. And that has two problems now, right? A, it's stretched, which we can fix in the right, we could do this and set the material to set this, double click again, sprite mode single, tight. We want full rect, right? We don't need a physics shape. And the clamp mode is repeat, right? And if I apply this, we're repeating now. So obviously the 1.5 is wrong. And I have no idea because this is the aspect ratio, right? So on a wider screen, we want this to be wider. And on a narrower screen, we want this to be narrower. So right now we know, can we find the actual size of this? Okay, right now it's 906 by 645, right? But that changes depending on how I lay out the game, right? So this is 1105 by 408. So if I go here and do that in the simulator, for example, then this thing will be 2048 by 1536. But our reference size is Unity added project settings, right? Our reference size is player 1920 by 1080, right? 1920 by 1080. So this should be 1920 by 1080. Right? And that's 1.7. That's the aspect ratio, right? But if I go to game view now, this still stretches, right? So we need to make that. The height is fixed and the width, basically this here needs to adapt to the aspect ratio we want, right? And this is basically the actual screen space divided by the height. So let's fix that stretching first. And what do we do in Unity if we want something fixed? We create a script. We create a script and call it fixed aspect, right? Aspect fixer, I stopped caring. I honestly stopped caring, right? So we have a public float aspect, and that is and yes, I need to make that float. Right, that is our aspect ratio. That is our target aspect. And then in the background image, we add the component, right? We add the fixed aspect script here. And this is our aspect, right? And we want this aspect to, can we get that from the camera? I think we can get that from the camera, right? So we use the main camera here, right? In the game script. So I assume we probably could get that via a tag, but let's wire it up manually, right? So the main camera actually here on the background, I don't know why it keeps loading. The main camera here is the main camera here is the main camera, right? And all we need to do is now on update. I mean, it would be nice if the main camera, let's check, let's look that up. Oh. So the camera. So we can get the aspect ratio, right? So what we could do is on update, so we know the camera aspect ratio, right? So, okay, cam aspect, just for tracing it, is main camera aspect. And then we do a debug dot log, and let's do it right. Let's so if we press play now on every frame, we will update the Okay. So we have a lot of, so if I go to, let's actually go to the simulator, right? Because here the aspect ratio is 1.33, but the background is set to 177. I want a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, right? So I think our target aspect ratio here is 1:1. And then we want the width, actually, this to be this, right? And then it feels right. So step 1 is, and I hope we can access the UV rect here. So how do we do this, right? So we have a private raw image. Why? Oh, fair enough. We have a raw image, and here we have our setup. Okay. I really should just write a snippet to this for this, right? So we do this, and in setup we say, okay, raw image equals get component raw image, right? And then in update, well, all we need to do is raw image dot UV rect cam aspect divided by the aspect we want. I'm not sure. I mean, X, Y, height is 1, right? Height 0 doesn't make any sense. So we want a 1 here. Actually, we want X and Y to be 0 and 1, right? So I think this actually should be, not sure that. Is this UV rect here actually a rect? It's a rect. And that has X, Y, width, and height. Okay. So that has X, Y, width, and height, right? And now this makes a little bit more sense. So if we press play, I mean, couldn't that just be a box on the raw image? Please? 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 Let's see. So I'm not sure that. Yeah, so it gets wider, right? It repeats more often and it repeats less. And if I actually want the correct aspect, I set that to 1.3, right? I could also set that to 2, or I could set that to 10, and then it keeps it at 10, right? But we know it's 1.3, and that's based on the initial aspect ratio we want. Because it's a texture, it's gonna be squished, right? So let's put this 1920 divided by 1080 back here. Wait. So which looks circular? This? Or this? I mean, this. Maybe we just want this. We want do we want perfect circles? Let's go for perfect circles. Right, because the texture is square. Let's go for that. And editing in play mode. Unity, yay! Let's not do that. And the nice thing is now it exactly fills the viewport, right? No overdraw, no clipping, nothing. And if we have different aspect ratios, right, it always will fill the background, right? Let's go free aspect again. And in the simulator, for example, on iPad, it will look like this. And then you have the more stretched version. It will just repeat the background more often, right? But it will always kind of fill it out. So that's nice. That's part one, right? That is part one, I hope. I don't like this solution. I'm not a fan of this solution, but what we can do now, right, is we can create a new material, right? Because we want our custom shader on it, right? Can we? So I want our own shader, so we probably need our own material, right? So I'm gonna textures. We're gonna create a new folder. And then we're gonna create a new material and call this background, right? And I wish I could just copy and paste the existing UI. And shader is step 2, right? So let's take this and let's use the background material, right? So we have control, and that background material right now has why is this rendering nothing? Because that default shader probably is empty. Oh, it's just very dark, right? It's very, very dark. You can see it here in the background. Because this material here uses the standard shader, and let's just use the GUI, no, the UI default here, and that's because it was used, the default shader is probably lit, right? So this is the behavior as before, but we have control over the material now. And if you have control of the material, we can set stuff like, oh, let's probably want, we can set the tint, right? Just like we used in Godot. Yeah, game done, right? It's slightly blue, and then we can just animate this and we're done, right? We probably could get away with it, to be honest. But we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do this. So we want to also create a shader. So let's create, and here it's going to get interesting, right? Here we're going to create a shader, and here we're going to create a so we could use a shader graph, but I want to standard. It's an unlit shader, right? We don't have light on it, so let's use that. And then here, all right, no. Actually in the material, because why would something be simple, right? We use our how can we no in the material, how can we use our shader here? How do I get, oh, I just type it, right? So this is our background shader now. So we're using our shader now, and that gives us the chance to, can we can edit this. And shaders in Unity are a bit, you have this, I think it's called Shader Lab, right? So let's get a browser here. Unity Shader Lab. So do they have shader language reference, right? So we have the shader lab, and this is basically the shader lab, which has multiple different parts, and then you have the program in there, which I believe is actually HLSL. So it's HLSL, right? So you have a shader and you write your custom shader, and you can create it with shader graph. You can write a compute shader, which we don't. So we write a shader in code, right? And you write it in shader lab and HLSL. So you create the shader file, blah, and then you basically have this. And luckily, we have the defaults here, right? So we know already what we want, right? We want the second texture on here, and I have no clue how to set the second texture. Right? I have no idea. So step one is, how do I get a second texture? How do I get a second texture here into the properties, right? So shader lab, block reference. Properties, defining material properties, right? So all I would just want to declare a different property, right? So I have a name, the display name, and then the type, which is 2D, which is pretty close to this, right? So this is, and we call this the gradient texture. Right, and white is where do I find the built-in textures? Unity built-in textures. I just want something, right? I mean, the documentation is just... Okay, so this shader now should have the gradient texture, which is not used, which is always a bit scary in shaders, right? So we have the gradient texture here. So I hope I can just pretend I'm not that good and just drag this on here. Probably it should be defined in the material, right? I mean, having this in here is kind of, we could probably do it here. And I'm gonna do it, right? I would love to have it on the material instead, right? Because it would make more sense to have it here. Oh, we could have it here, right? We could have it on the material, right? But actually, I want it here. To be honest, I want it here, right? But I guess we have it in there now. So we're gonna do the same, right? I mean, HLSL is not good. So at some point in the fragment shader, right, we do the texture lookup here. And we don't want to apply a fog, right? And then we have a fixed for final color, which is text 2D. And here we use the it looks like Godot doesn't Godot writer doesn't like our setup, right? And this is a fixed 2. Right, and here we use the call.r, and as y, let's just use something in the middle for the moment, right? So we do a lookup into the gradient texture here. We do have it, so I think it's just... Oh, we need to define the sampler, right? So this is the property, but this is the actual, sorry about the resizing. Okay, so we use the color as the X. Where are we, left to right in that texture, right? Just a reminder, our texture here, right, is just, this is the animation and this is mapping dark in this grayscale to bright. And either it doesn't work in the editor, which would be very sad because you can't see what you're doing, or it doesn't work at all. Or it doesn't work at all. So this is our background shader, right? And this is our frag. Oh, obviously we need to use the final color here and not the, yeah, my bad. So this is very dark now, probably because we randomly hit a very dark area, right? Let's, why is this so dark? Why is this so dark? Because it's unlit, right? So I don't expect any lighting equation to be applied. So why is this so dark? Right, the color doesn't matter anymore, right? We don't use that. We have the material, right? The material is unlit, and then we have the shader, which is this, right? So fragment shader, metal fragment. So we do the sampling and then we do the other sampling. I mean, the optimization is nice, but okay. Let's try something different, right? Let's use, let's just show the other texture, right? Just to see if there's something wrong with the texture. So this is a texture, right? And this is kind of what I expect. Kind of. Oh man. Step one, right? Step one. You are not messing up our textures, right? That's just, oh, can I please apply this? I never pressed apply. This looks slightly better. Still banding in there, but just the lookup texture, right? So that part is correct. So what? I mean, this shouldn't matter because it's grayscale, right? Alpha is probably a bad idea. Wait. There's lighting on that, right? Am I blind or is there lighting on that? Okay. We'll need to expose this value anyway, right? So what we need is a property. property, and I'm just guessing here, right? Is face. We call this face, which is a float. And the default is 0.5, right? Maybe I was overly... Oh, it's float. And it doesn't have a... Okay, so it's float and it doesn't have this, right? So that is our face. And then we have our float face. Not sure what... Oh, that's the UV. That's the texture coordinates, right? Fair enough. So this is basically literally float face. So now we have exported in the material, right? So if I go to the material, well, I have exported it to the shader, right? Didn't I press? So we have the face here, which is exported, right? So how can I have the face here, right? So the face goes from 0. Okay, so that works. I think the UVs are upside down, right? Oh, just gonna... Oh. That's why it was so dark, because I was trying to aim for this bar here, right? But I was getting this here. So this is bright. If I set it to 1, I get the pure edge thing, right? And then I can, let's say, slowly fade it in. And then at the bottom, I have the same, right? So what we actually gonna do is we're gonna say minus face, right? So then we have, this is the top, and then we can slowly go up, right? And then we go to black, and then we go to dead. Can I limit the range? Can I limit the range? Attributes. Adding material properties to shaders. Access to material properties via a script. To access, you can call material get float and material set float. Material set float, right? Material set float. So on the background, right? On the background, I add a background script. Right, so we create a new script. Let's call this background. Background, we add that to the background image. After waiting for this blue bar, I mean, we got used to it by now, right? We add this component. And I'm gonna remove this again in a second, right? But we'll have a face here. And then, yes, we have a setup. Probably, I hope it's just optimizing out empty functions, but I like to have the everything is same, right? And on update, so we need the material, right? We need the material. So we have a private material. Yeah, and then in setup we say material equals. Yes, if there is no renderer on this object, we have a problem, but that's fine, right? And in the update, we just say material set float face to face, right? That auto-completion actually was nice, right? So now on this, Unity. Right? So we have the face here. So when we press play, I hope, null reference. Okay, so material is null. Okay. If renderer debug log warning right, and then so is renderer a property or a component? And so we did have a and here we turn it around, right? So we can just hide this. No renderer attached to background, right? So, but background has a canvas renderer. But wait, this raw image has a material, right? So we want the raw image. We want the raw image, right? So we want the raw image. Let's call it RI, right? And let's call it RI here. Probably we just care about anything that has a material. It's a bit... I don't like this at all. So let's try this once more. Okay. And now we can set the face here, right? We can animate the face as we need it from the background script. Which is nice, right? So we could, in theory, just say face equals mass sinus of I don't know, right? Just animate it for it's not face, it's face, right? Face. So if I run this now, I expect it to be animated. It's animated wrong, right? And let's make this a bit faster because was hard to see, so let's make the animation a bit faster for testing purposes. We're going to replace that with the correct animation in a second, right? And it's overshooting, right? So, okay. Just because I like you so much. So this is 0.5 plus f plus 0.5 f times this, right? So we get it from -1 to 1 to 0 to 1. Just watching this number here, and that kind of feels right, right? It takes about 6 seconds to cycle through the full cycle, but that is the color animation, right? We still have to do the face, but let's do the color first. So for the color to be set correctly, right? And we're gonna steal the background faces again from here, right? These are the 4 faces. We're gonna map them to the game state, right? So we'll need the game state. Right, we need the state from the game, so the background needs to know the game. The background needs to know the game, right? Public game. Right, so we wire up the game here in the background at some point. Right, so we just drag the game in here, and from the game we can get the state, and we could just poll the state, but I actually want the game to have an event, right? Although the game already has an event on state changed, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give this one public void on game state changed, and that is game.state, right? And then we wire this up and say, okay, this waiting for this bar is driving me. I mean, right? So we say the background raw image here, background on game state changed. So we wire up that event, right? Pretty straightforward. And then we here say we switch state, and that is game state dot. I forgot all of these, right? All of these, let's wire them all up. Let's just put them here for reference. I stopped caring about the editor, right? We need to do something here. And I'm going to copy this a few times. So swimming, we're going to fill them out in a second. Right? And now we know we have this min and max phase, right? We have a range between which is swings. So we have min phase. No. How do I duplicate a line? Okay, I'm not even trying. We have min phase and max phase, right? Can I please get just... we have min phase and max phase, and then for the different states, we're doing something, right? So in waiting for start, that's this one, right? This is waiting for start. We say min phase equals 16 divided by 128, right? And max phase F is 96, right? And then in swimming, we have the same. So in swimming, we just make sure if we skip states, we want to still have the same thing, right? Dying is going to be slightly different. So let's copy Let's actually copy them all here, right? So dying is actually the black one. We know that dead or dying is the black one. So let's use this, and this is 112, 112, right? Basically not animating. Yeah, we could have copied this here. And then respawning is actually the faded out, right? So we have to be careful here because we want this one. Right, and we probably want, I'm leaning towards having an extra state between dead and respawning. So I want an extra state here that says preparing for respawn. But let's just right. So this is the very end of the thing. And actually, when we're waiting for start, I'm gonna set the face to 0, right? So because this will be at the end and this will be at the beginning. So that doesn't do anything yet because our update is doing it wrong, right? Because we have this nice function that said basically this. Right, so this is where we want to be. This is where we want to be, right? So we have var delta is max phase to min phase. And then that is this times this times this. We just use time.time, right? And then we take the sinus of this inner part here. Right, we just move the postfix to the prefix. This is delta and this is min phase. So this is target phase, right? This is where we want to be. And for the moment, we just say, yeah, that's where we are, right? Can I please get a copy of this into my clipboard? So this says, okay, it says for this state, I want to be between, do a sinus between these two states, right? And this says, yeah, go there and let's see. Let us see. I'm talking too fast today, but I want this done, right? So we're waiting for respawn. We're swimming. Right? We're swimming. And it's slowly animating in the background. Probably too slow, but maybe we need a speed factor. And then when we die, it goes to black. It jumps to black, which it shouldn't do. And we respawn, it goes to this new screen and then plops back in, right? I just want to quickly check the time here. It's half speed. It's half speed, right? And let's quickly check in update. Basically, we do a lerp, right? We do a lerp with 99%. It's between phase and target phase. So we have, I hope we have a mass af lerp. Yes. And can I get some T? By T. So we want from phase to target phase. Yeah, lerping with time step is not. Is it actually this? Was it 99? All right, it was 99. So let's see if that works. Wrong play button. Whew. Oh, we didn't initialize it correctly, right? Let's fix that real quick. So on configure, we set the phase, right? We set the phase to 0.0. Because in editor, we might want to see how it looks like, so we might tweak that slider. But when we start the game, we want to come from the turquoise screen, right? And then I start swimming and it fades in. It's too fast. It's too fast, and then it fades to black. And then when I respawn, it should fade to turquoise, right? And This fade there feels wrong, but the formula is correct. It feels too dark in general. It feels much too dark, right? It feels much too dark. How can it be too dark? Right, so if I go here, oh, it doesn't update in the editor. Okay, so we need to test it here, right? Because this will... So this here, right? I expect this bright here, and it's just too dark. It's just too... It is too dark, right? So... This will be too much. Okay, so what if we said final call to fixed for 1, right? 1 I expect to be white. Can I not splat this? Can I not splat this? This should be white now, right? This is white, so white is white. But this color here, right? This color here is nearly white. So, okay, let's do this differently, right? Let's say we set the color to white. So this lookup gives us the far right, right? Something is not right here. So this is the very right of the texture, and that is very bright, right? So 2.5 is very bright. The question is, why is this so dark? So this should have the full range of this, right? And it definitely doesn't have it. It's too dark. So I kind of, what if we said col.r plus equals, I don't know. Then it does get brighter, but something is not right, right? Because this texture here, this background here, this background has a lot of bright at the top, right? So there's a lot of almost white. It's not white. It is not quite white, right? Here's what we're gonna do. No. Background test, right? I'm gonna open that with GIMP. Why is this so dark? So this is not white, right? This is nowhere near white. So if I just do this, right, and say I want I don't know, 25%. Oh, is this values between 0 and 100, right? So say, let's say 40, 40, 40, right? 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. Right? Dark, 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 dark. And then I have this here and have 80, 80, 80. Right? And then I have this here. And say, I don't know. Let's say B. C? C is nice, right? I'm not sure what's with the focus here. C, and then I have something white, right? Just white. Let's try with this. Let's try with this. And then here we actually use the background test, right? And we forgot to do the repeat here and the non and the full rect and the apply, right? And now we remove this plus here. That still feels too dark. To me, that feels too dark. Right, because this is pretty bright. I mean, here in the gray, this gray could be this gray, right? So it's not that far off. And then we have these two top gray boxes, right? Look, is it, what about gamma correction? Is there gamma correction happening, right? I'm going to leave this actually in the project. Unity custom shader gamma correction. The question is, do we gamma correct? Do we gamma correct? Can I just say this texture is not sRGB? So this was, right? This was a problem. And also let's bring in the test texture again and do the same. Right, so this was too dark. So this looks better, right? Now we have have this linear thing we expected. It had to be the gamma correction somewhere along the pipeline. And since we didn't implement it, I didn't realize Unity already did that, right? But these now look kind of evenly spaced. And if I die, they are evenly spaced grays, right? So let's actually drag this back in. And now the whole game shouldn't look too dark anymore. Yeah, this looks much happier, right? This looks much happier. And when I die, it goes dark, but not like black. Then it goes back here. I want a face for that spawning, right? That actually is colorful. Maybe do a little rainbow flash or something. Yeah, maybe not. So that is working, but we don't have a parallax, right? So let's add that offset as well. And that should be super straightforward, right? Because we have an offset, which is a float, right? And that is just 0.0. And then we expose that here in the here, right? And then in the I think we can just do plus fix to offset comma 0, right? Cannot apply to sampler to the you didn't see that. You didn't see that. You didn't see that, right? We could also just say I.U plus offset, but I don't want to mangle the original, right? So we have an offset in this shader now. So just for real quick testing, we have this offset. We have this offset here, right? And that scrolls the background. And we did the same in Godot, right? Just for we had the offset here and then just added the offset here. So we're going to do the same, right? So the offset, the problem is the offset, right? Let's look in the background here real quick. The offset here comes from, from the game manager movement, right? Let's actually steal this, this line here, because let's not reinvent the wheel. We have the background script here, right? Let's not forget to add them. And here, actually, we have to recalculate the offset to do, right? So I want the offset actually be here so we can use it for testing. We can use it for testing. And then here we just say no auto-completion on that. Muchas gracias, right? So basically our offset is 0.5 for the parallax effect, right? Times, and this is actually the texture width, but we know it's times the game manager, which we currently don't have, right? So get game manager dot. Do we have a get movement on that? I was pretty sure the game manager has a get movement, because we need that for the obstacle, right? Seriously? So we have the current speed. We have the current speed. It's not movement, it's current speed, right? So we can say current speed times time delta time. Seriously. So every frame we get the, if the background is moving, get the speed factor. This is because we are in texels, right? And actually I want to say if offset is larger than 1.0, right? Then we say offset. And that's the one that actually is creating the problem in Godot, right? So because this constantly goes up and then we lose precision in the... Okay, let's not do this, right? Let's not do this, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. So if I press play now, and the offset is not initialized, right? So let's initialize that. That's another fix we're gonna do in a second. So background is scrolling, right? Everything is working. When I die, background stops moving, and that's all fine. And then I continue, right? But this offset is constantly getting larger. So what if that offset is, I don't know, 1,000, right? And then we continue. Oh, it didn't overwrite it. Okay, let's do it different, right? Let's start with like 1,000. Let's start with 10,000 and press play, right? And we don't have that reset every... Who's resetting this offset? Okay. Let's do it like this, right? I just want to show you something. So let's initialize offset to send 10,000, and we don't have the code that wraps it around, right? So if I press play now, I still add the same movement, but due to the precision of the float, right, we only have so many digits, so it starts to get like really bad, right? So if I add this back in, and this will take 1,000 frames now to fix itself, which is not very smart, but we avoid that it ever gets too big, right? And since we know it repeats by a factor of 1, we just remove the repetition. Right, so you see this is counting down, and it's slowly getting better because we have more precision in the decimals. And now it's almost good. You still see there's some values that it really doesn't like. And now it's getting close to 1, right? And then we have all the precision we want because it will be constantly between, and watch it wrap from 1 to 0 again, right? It just wrapped smoothly and we don't have that precision issue. Which is what we want, but we also wanted to start nice, so we started nice and never let it get out of hand, right? It's still nice that in the editor we can see it. And actually, if the offset ever was negative because we scroll back, we would need to do, I mean, we could just do else if offset smaller than -1, right? And then we bring it back in scope again. If we ever scroll in the other direction, right? We could also do some tricks with mass, min, and max, and or just get the modulo, right? You could just say offset equals offset, but this is a division potentially and not clearly defined, so let's not do this, right? Keep it in range. Not sure why you say this if is convert if statement to switch statement. How? I want to see that. Really? Really? Looks weird, but I'm gonna leave it in. It looks weird to my eye, but okay, again, what learned? Again, what learned? We do have the background in Unity. Not too bad. I still want that special state during the spawning so we don't have this background so long. And it feels like, so for me it feels like, let's make this much slower, right? Because to me it feels like it plops in too fast in the beginning. And this should move in very, very slow. Maybe it was too slow, right? Maybe it was too slow because we're slowly getting into visible range. Can you see it? I can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it. So that was a bit slow, right? So maybe make it 10 times slower. I'm not sure. It looked to me like it was jumping, but I might be seeing it wrong. I mean, I want it fast, right? But we're not tuning values that we tuned 5 years ago. We're not doing that. So I'm going to add this for the fixed aspect ratio, right? Git add. I'm going to add this. It's so bad that there's an add here, but I need this add here, right? Which is, So 2024 08? No, 010. Did we start in August? Yes, we started end of August, and we gave ourselves 2 months, which is not too bad, right? Unity set background transitions and movement. And I'm gonna mark this as done, and then we can look into music. Oh, I don't want to do music. Who wants to do music? Let's do music. Let's do music after this short commit from. So we are about 66 hours in, so 1.5 weeks to do it on 2 platforms. That gives me high hopes. So add polish background in Unity. And yes, I probably could have just used these and these identical, but we're so deep in here now. So we have the 2 new files. We added the to-do. We added the scene. Because we're mixing UI and in-game, right? This is the background for the wrapping, and we disabled the sRGB because darkness. Hello, darkness, RGB. No. I didn't do that. That didn't happen. We added the materials folder, the background material, the background script, the fixed aspect script, the shaders, the background shader, and yes, I want this text texture, right? Boom. I still want automated Unity builds. I didn't get to that. Yeah, let's do music. Let's add music, right? Let's add music. So assets. Let's create a folder. Music. Let's reveal that in Finder. And let's reveal that again in Finder just to get a second window, right? Can I get... I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Okay. Let's do it like this, right? So this is the assets, and here is the music. And let's go into assets. Didn't I just add music here? I can see music here, right? Oh, I added it in scripts. Ah. No. Let's delete that and add it. Oh, because I... Okay. That's better, right? So we have music. We have music. So let's... I'm not sure what will happen, right? So we copy the music in. So we have the music in here, right? Can we... Yes, we want to load this in background, right? Decompress on... This is streaming. This is an MP3, right? Okay. I mean, here's the thing, right? On a Mac and on iOS hardware, I don't want Vorbis, right? Because it has MP3 hardware decoding. So this is making the game big now. So if I press... That is our main theme, right? And we could probably force this to mono. And it's much smaller, right? Because there is no stereo in that song. So I have no idea how we play this. So I probably want, right? I'm not sure what I did here. I want... We have the game manager, right? Let's create at the same level, right, as a sibling. Let's create a music manager. Right, and let's create a script for that. We might not need it, right? We might not need it, but might be a bit of overkill. And then we add this script to the music manager, right? So I don't know how to play music, but this might be a jukebox. Right now, it's just one song that plays forever. So I guess we add a component here and... So, is this an audio source? And is our music just a clip? And we just loop it, right? We do not have code. And it just plays, right? So, and we probably can just say... So we just have to set the mute to follow this button, right? Maybe the music should come from the Fiiish, but it's just background, right? So we want the music manager to... We could just poll the player, right? Because this is changing something in the player. So So we have this button, right? We have the music toggle button. And that just sends an event to the in-game settings, right? Oh, the in-game settings dialog can actually... So the in-game settings dialog, right? The in-game settings dialog, remember when the music is toggled, on music toggle, we said game get player enable music, right? And we said we want to move that into game anyway. So what I'm going to do is we're going to give the game a public void enable music, right? And actually, I'm going to just copy this 4 times and patch it up, right? So we have a disable music. We have the enable music, and a disable sound, right? And what this does is definitely player enable music. Player disable music, player enable sound, and player disabled sound, right? That's the saved state. That is a saved state, right? So here, here we just say enable music on the game, right? And disable music on the game. And this save here, we actually also move into the game, right? It's probably underscore game here. Yeah. No? Oh. It's just player save, right? It's just player save. So you probably could get away with just saving on close of the dialog, but our save is so lightweight. I'm not too bothered, right? So this dialog now just tells the game, hey, do this, right? And well, let's keep this here for reference for one commit, the usual. And we moved it into the game, right? Because we don't want to tangle up the in-game settings with the player, with the music manager. So the game knows about the music manager, right? The game has a music manager. And I wouldn't do it like this, to be honest, right? Private. We need to talk about initialization at some point, but let's stick with that was not what I wanted. Right, so here we want music manager, and here we want music manager, and here we want music manager, and this is actually music manager as well, right? We're doing the find here. We tried different patterns, and let's stick with that pattern. So we have the music manager definitely. And if we have the music manager, then and the music manager, can we actually set the volume here on the music manager? Do we have volume controls? We have volume controls, right? So the thing is, I don't want this, right? I want this. When I press the button. So we're gonna tweak the volume instead. So what this will have is a void, a public void fade out music, right? With a float duration. And a fade in music with a float duration, right? And we have the private. We did that. Where did we do this? For the toggle button, right? We're doing the same as for the toggle button, for the fadeable, right? We just have the fade speed and then just do the logic here. So we just do the same here, right? So we have a private float fade speed, right? And that defaults to 0.0. If we fade out, we set the fade speed to 1.0 f divided by duration, right? Fade out to minus. And if we fade in, we set it to plus. And then an update if fade speed comparing with 0, but we set this ourselves, right? If it's not 0, let's say if it's not 0, right? Then we do the fade. And for the fade, I mean, we could just use the exact code here, right? If fade speed is not 0, then we set the fade speed and then we compare the result, right? It's not the fade speed, right? It's not the canvas group. It's the, what was it called? The audio source, right? So private audio source. And then we have a void setup. Right, we have the setup as usual, where we get all our dependencies and say audio source equals get component audio source. And then we basically say audio source volume. Right, but this is basically, this is this is this. I wonder if we should convert this to a switch as well, right? Yes, I like this now. So if we clip at the top, we clip hard at the top and stop the fade. If we clip at the bottom, we clip hard at the bottom. And if we're not exactly 0, and we know we are exactly 0, right? We do nothing. So the game now can say, okay, on enable music. We do the saving first, and then we say music manager, fade out, fade in music. Let's say over half a sec. Let's fade it in over 5 seconds, right? Just for the effect. And on disable, we fade it out over 5 seconds. 5 seconds is too much. It's just for testing it now, yeah, right? We don't have a volume slider. We might want to add a volume slider, but step 1 is parity, right? Probably we should have called it audio manager. So it slowly fades it out. It's much too slow, right? And if I press it again, it fades it in. And I can change my mind in the middle of the fade, right? That's why we don't have a fade direction or anything or an animation, so we can pick it up where we are. And obviously 5 seconds is far too long. So say half a second is probably even too long. Let's see how it feels. Let us see how it feels. Do you hear the difference between the fade and the cut? It also removes potentially sharp edges, so I mean, maybe when we reach zero, right? When we reach 0, we should mute it, and when we, yeah. So music manager, right? When we reach 0, we set the audio source. We stop the audio source. Well, can we mute it, mute it. And when we fade in, wherever we are, we say audio source, no, mute equals false, right? So we stop it for good after it faded out. But we make sure if we decide to fade in, we are always active, right? So this is working nicely. So you see it goes to muted and to unmuted. Saves resources. Nice. And music is off, right? Oh, we didn't have the initial, we don't do the initial state, right? It starts on. It starts on even if it's off. So when in the game, when we load the player, right? At startup, we load the player. At some point, we load the player, right? And then we say if player is music enabled, right? If the music is enabled, we say no, we say music manager. We do it quick fade out, right? We do an ultra quick fade out. Then we do a fade in over 0.5 seconds, and else, oh, probably we just fade it out anyway, right? And we need to do this quick fade, right? Because we currently don't have that, because we would have a division by 0, right? Because we divide by the duration here. So we say if duration is 0 or is smaller than 0, fair enough, right? Then we say, then we actually say, do this, right? We stop fading. We instantly stop fading. We set the volume to 0 and we mute it. Otherwise, we calculate the duration, right? And maybe we just do the opposite here. So if we have a fade in, and then the fade speed is 0, we have this, and we have a false here, right? And then have an else. And here I'm not sure, right? Because this here is the same, so we could pull it out. I probably want to. If we fade in, we're never muted, right? No matter how fast. So if I start now and I saved in music off, it should do a quick fade out, right? The music is currently on, but it should insta disable it. Right? It's muted and the volume is 0, so we don't even get a glitch. The player doesn't want music, right? And if I turn it on, that works. It's saved. So if I start now, it should still turn it off and then slowly fade it in. It will be hidden in the loading, right? But maybe that fade in the beginning should be a bit slower. It may be to give the player a chance to, hey, I forgot to turn off music, right? So let's make this a bit slower in the beginning. And we're starting off again. Are we? I forgot what the state was. So you have a chance, right? Yeah, that feels good. I'm not sure if we need to add a volume slider, because when it was a phone app, right, we didn't need that because you just used the device volume. But since it's desktop now and you might be listening to other music in the background, maybe we need to add a volume slider. But let's add this here. All right, and I actually want to add volume slider. And we're gonna remove this, right? Because we're in this other mode. But Unity has music now, and technically we should switch back to Godot, but I think we're adding sound effects as well after this commit, right? So Unity add music. So add music to Unity. And yes, that music was composed by me back in the day. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. Maybe we accidentally committed that. Let's remove that at some point. So we added the music manager. We added the fade in at the beginning. We moved the enable and disable into the game. Right, then the settings just doesn't care about the player, just want the game to enable this stuff. And then we have the music, we have the theme configuration, and the music manager. Oh, and actually this one I discard, commit, rebase, and push. Here's the thing. I do want to add sound effects, right? Right, I really want to add sound effects. And we have some nice sounds, right? All right, so let's get them into the project. All right, so this is the bubble loop, right? Which we use. Actually, where's my loop? Where's my loop setting? Wait, on the music? Oh, that was on the audio source. Okay, so this is our bubble pop, and probably we can force this to mono, but this is 300 kilobyte, right? This one I want to preload, right? This actually all of these I want to preload, right? And decompress on load. I mean, they're tiny, right? So I have this loop, I have one bubble pop, which I don't think we use anywhere right now. We have the button. This is when clicking buttons, right? This is when the fish dies. And this is the picked coin, right? And the fish dash is pretty straightforward. We could just put that on the fish. We could just put that on the game. The problem is with the coin, we need to limit, right? We could add to the coin, right? To our coin prefab, to our pickup, right? To our coin. We could just add the audio source here, right? I'm gonna put it into right. I'm just gonna put it in here and say add component audio source, right? And then just drag the where's the sound, right? Just drag the picked coin in here. And then the coin. Right, the coin script, the pickup script. I mean, maybe we do it like this, right? The pickup script on collect. Maybe, right? Let's delete this, and maybe the coin could just have an audio source, right? With the pickup thing, which is bypass, listener, play on wake, no loop, priority, pitch. Well, let's try this, right? So what we could do on collect, right? On collect, we could say var audio source equals game object get component, and if we have it's temporary, right? We say audio source play, and suddenly our coins do have. I'm not sure I want to do it like this, right? Because why? Wait. Hey there. We're almost done here. So we don't want this to autoplay, right? Where's the autoplay? So the problem is play on wake, right? We don't want that. We don't want it to autoplay. The problem is you heard that kind of, it's playing too many, right? So why is it not? Why is the collect not triggered? Oh, no reference. Can you please go to... This is a pickup, right? And the coin has a pickup script and an audio source. So console, yeah, debug log, debug.log collected coin, right? Oh man, I cannot typo anymore. So, is this code... Why do we have this edge problem again? Where's this suddenly coming from? We had that before, right? And then it disappeared. Oh, maybe we should remove this this debug here, right? From the fixed aspect. Yeah, bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea. We almost have a game. And I'm very hungry. So we get the collected coin. Oh, here's one problem, right? Here's one problem. Pickup. Right? We play the audio source, but we set alive to false, so we get destroyed, right? So that is one problem. And B, even if we didn't get destroyed, right? Even if we didn't get destroyed, so okay, how do we call collect here, right? We call, can I just go there? right? So this destroys the pickup, right? So if we don't destroy it, the sound will play. But I am not happy about this, right? So right, did you hear that? It's so we're not going to do it like this, right? Because A, they need to be destroyed, and B, that would create tons of audio sources, right? So we're gonna go prefabs, pickups, coin, and unfix the damage we did, right? We're just gonna remove this audio source again. And then this code goes away too. So I think what actually happens is the game manager, the game manager on coin pickup, right? The coin should know its sound effect. It should know which sound to play, right? On pickup. So we tell the pickup, right? You have a optional public, is it audio clip? Collect the audio clip, right? This has a collect the audio clip. Is it public? Yeah, it needs to be public. And then we also have public audio clip, collect audio clip, which returns that, right? So we can get it. And then we can say, okay, the coin prefab here, right? Come on, the coin prefab. I'm not even sure I want the actual audio clip there. Probably just, ideally, I just would want a CRC or something, right? But the pickup here can have an audio clip. So we can put the sound in there, right? And let's just say we have the picked coin here. And then the game manager can say, right? And here's a bit of a problem, right? So we can say var audio clip equals p dot collect audio clip, and say if audio clip not null, then we do something, right? And we basically want to cue the audio, and we do that in the game, right? So we want something that creates that audio clip, plays it, or just checks if there's an available player. So basically what I want is to say game, and probably this should be audio effect ID. So we don't even want to do it like this. So let's fix this up, right? So I wonder, right? If we should have, right? What if we had, can we have a C# file with just enums, right? I want an enum here, to be honest. So what if we have a script, right? Create script audio effect ID, right? And this is just public enum. It is enum, right? Audio effect ID. And default is none, and this is coin pickup. Can we do this, or will this work, right? And then our pickup doesn't have an audio clip, right? It has a public audio effect ID, right? Collect audio effect equals audio effect ID none. And then we change this to this, right? And this is obviously audio effect ID. That's better. I like that more, right? I like this more because now we can in the prefabs and the pickups and the coins, right? We can just say, hey, where is my pickup? We just say, did I save that? Did I forget to? Where's this coming from? We removed that from the, right? Do we have an error? Okay, wait. Collect audio effect. And then if that is not equal to audio effect ID none, then we do something, right? So now we can, when the compiler works again, we can say, hey, use the coin pickup for this coin, right? And I'm going to save that. And just because we're here already, I'm going to do that for the... Maybe we don't add sound effects for the other coins for the moment, just for testing. And then, for example, the game manager could have a defined number of music sources, right? And they could be generated on the fly. So, but I want to create a music manager, and probably we should have called this sound manager. So let's create a new one, right? Let's call this sound manager. And yes, we're mixing sound and music, and I know, but we're so close to the finish line that I stopped caring. Right, let's create a script, call this sound manager. Attach this script to, if it lets us. Right, so wait. I clicked here, I'm sure. So the game knows about the sound manager now, right? It needs to, and I'm 99% sure we'll just do a pass over the initialization and make this a lot cleaner, right? Right now we're just mixing stuff like crazy. So this is sound manager without the GO, right? Sound manager, and this is sound manager. This is, so we get it the same, and then we have a public void trigger sound, right? And that has an audio effect ID. Audio effect ID. And that says if player is sound enabled. If sound is not enabled, we're doing nothing, right? We just, nope. Nope, then we do something, and basically we say sound manager trigger sound, right? Which is currently not implemented, but I hope we can just say, yep, we can just do that, right? Yeah, don't throw. And Ideally, we would load this from some kind of config file, but what I'm just gonna do is audio effect ID, right? And say case none, we just do nothing, right? Default, we just do nothing. And then we have the case audio effect ID coin pickup, right? And we're gonna hard code it here. We're gonna just hard code it here, and let's see how many we need. We could just create one, right? We could probably just create a game object. So this is a bit hacky, but geo is game object instantiate, right? Can be just Unity new empty game object at runtime. We need to instantiate it, right? We can just new it and then add the components. Okay, we don't have to. So we just say new the game object, right? Then we say geo add component audio source. Right. Will this return? Wouldn't this be nice if this returned the audio source? It returns T, which is nice, right? So audio source. Right, and then we say audio source load clip coin pickup, and then we say audio source play. Right, and we probably gonna generate a ton of audio sources this way, right? I just want to go into the game manager because this here we just say do we have game in the game manager? Does the game manager know about the game? He probably should have an event bus for this, but the game manager doesn't know about the game. We could just, and please forgive me. We're mixing so many different things here, right? On audio effect triggered. Right. And then we just say, where there. And here we just say, on, wait, it's not, why is it on? Okay. On, we put it in the wrong file, right? This is the entity config. This is the entity config. We want it actually in here, right? And this probably should be, yeah, you don't need to rename that. This should be this, right? So we can say invoke with the audio effect, and that's all at this point, right? We don't care. We did our job, and then the game needs to actually public on audio effect triggered void, right? Void, we say trigger sound. And then we wire that up in the editor, right? So the sound manager, not the sound manager, we're passing, we really should have an audio effect bus or something like that. But the game manager has this now, right? So we just pull the game in there for now. We pull the game in there and say game on audio effect triggered, right, with the parameter. So is that it? Did I miss something? This will still spawn too many, so we need kind of a counter, right? That did not work. Why did that not work? What did I mess up? I'm worried about this one because console, yeah. It's not console, it's debug. My bad. But the edge arrow is gone, right? No, it's not. Yes, no, yes, no, maybe. I don't know. I wish this would tell me where the arrow comes from. It will just go away after 3 reloads, right? It will. It will. So on audio effect triggered is true. I think we need to... We lose the... So here's the problem, right? In our sound manager, this here goes out of scope here, right? Or rather here. So when it goes out of scope, it gets destroyed. So we just add it to us in the tree, right? So the sound manager keeps the reference, and that means we're leaking them forever because we never destroy them, right? Which is not ideal. So the sound manager is creating tons of new game objects, right? I'm not sure why this game object, it doesn't have an audio clip. Why doesn't it have an audio clip? Because the audio clip is not called coin pickup, right? The audio clip is called sound picked coin. Well, this is probably sound picked coin. And probably this should be a... we should probably preload the asset, right? We should load it as an addressable instead of loading it at runtime, right? Because it's not in the resources folder, blah, blah, blah. So let's fix that real quick. Because let's make this an addressable, right? Let's actually call this sound picked coin, right? And we put it into the packed assets. And that is just for the picked coin, right? So we want to preload this. We should have done that anyway, right? So we have a private dictionary of audio effect ID to not audio source to audio clip, right? To audio clip. The autocomplete messed up here a bit. I'm not sure if this... This is what we want, right? And then we have a void setup and I enumerator configure configure, and let's just return null for now. And this is setup and return configure, right? Semicolon. Yeah, this probably should be async await instead of coroutines, but We do have addressables already in the in the game manager. We already load the asset async, right? This already is async, right? So the problem is right? So I want to load the addressable, but I want to load the audio clip, right? And the audio clip in this case was this, right? I want to load this. This we need to import addressables, right? And the handle, maybe this should be an, right? Maybe this should be a async operation handle. Can you go back, please? So we need to clean this up a bit. We're hacking here a bit, right? We are definitely in the game manager. Actually, we load on start, right? We adding the entity config, and that loads the config from assets. So and then adds it to the lookup table. So oh, that's where we just were, and then adds it to the table, right? Which is just, I'm not sure I want to wrap it at this moment. I'm half an hour over tonight. So can we put a game object? Can we, wait, async operation handle? Is this just a missing import? Yes. Okay. So fair enough. So probably we don't even need the coroutine here. And basically we say var handle is this, right? And then we say, maybe we make this private, right? Well, it was private, but the naming was not consistent. So we say audio clips, audio effect ID, coin pickup equals handle, right? Can we do this? Will this compile? Cannot convert to audio clip. Wait. Did I? This editor. Yeah, this needs to be the ID, obviously, right? So we load on start, and on trigger, we actually say if, and this is a bit overkill, right? If it's in there, right, and we probably want to take a config, and I'm gonna clean that, right? Yeah, we're not gonna release that. Then we do this, right? Otherwise we don't do this. And the audio source clip is actually so we have a handle, right? So we say if audio clip, if, oh, let's say var AC equals audio clips this, right? And if AC dot result is not null, right? Then var, and this is an AC handle, right? AC handle. Then the AC is ACH result. And then we do this, right? And then we say the clip is basically, do we need to clone this or can we just use this here? This is a bit hacky to do this all inline. We probably should have a wrapper for audio clip config, and we will do that. But for today, we just want to do the minimal and get the ton of sounds playing, right? And this is the problem I wanted to show you, right? Because this is, well, this is still okay, but if you get a ton, right, you see it's not playing them anymore. And let's actually disable the sound and see if that works. Come on, give me some coins, spawn some coins. And now I expect no sound to be played, right? No sound to be played, but if I go back here and re-enable it, we get the coin collection sound again. And come on. So what I want to do is a maximum count of, you can have, I don't know, max 20 coin collect effects and a minimum distance, right? And obviously, this here is not good. This is not good. So, actually what we want to do is audio source on, I'm pretty sure audio source has a, hey, I'm done, right? Pan, get pitch, set pitch, play helper, play one shot help, play one shot helper. Play one shot helper. Unity audio source, play one shot helper. Place an audio clip. No. Nope. Oh, wrong Unity version. Wrong Unity version. We want the scripting API. We want audio source. Clip. I just want, hey, is done. A callback on, we're done. Destroy me. There is no... I don't want to create a wrapper for this. There is no... That's interesting. There's no on sound finished. Unity audio. Wait. Audio source finished. Yeah, no. Busy polling, really. Really? Oh, really? I don't know. No. That is not what I... We can just wait, right? We can just wait. That's a good idea because the clip has a length. We know when it will be finished. So I would say that is a problem for tomorrow's meet because it's 9 p.m. I'm hungry. We have audio in the game. And we probably, right, in the game manager, we had this entity config. Probably we should have in the sound manager a sound config that then knows what do we do with it. That creates the object, attaches the script, and the object just handles itself. This actually looks this doesn't look too bad, right? This doesn't look too bad. So basically we have a helper, right? Play audio, then activate, yeah, then destroy game object. So we have to right, we do this. So the thing is, let's not do this. Let's just leak them for today, right? I'm willing to leak them for today. It's been a long day, but we need a better sound management system. I assume there's something where you can say Unity, play the sound, and then throw it away, right? But we can play sounds now. And we're going to add one more, right? You're going to add this one more because we know we're going to need it. So we have our sounds. We have our fish desk, right? We make it an addressable. We call it sound fish desk, right? We put it into the packed assets. We save. Then we go to our audio effect idea and say we have a fish desk. In here, the sound manager on load. We're gonna improve this next time, right? So I'm gonna be a bit dirty here today. We're gonna put this into a helper. That's why I already marked it, right? Right, sound fish desk. And this is fish desk, right? So we load it, and when we play it, basically the same code, but I'm also gonna just copy and paste here, right? We're gonna clean this up. Technically, we could just remove the switch case, right? And just say, if we have this, right? If we have this, then play it. I mean, there's a reason we loaded it, right? Wow. And now the fish Des needs to be played, right? But we already know that the game knows about the state changes, right? We have the on game state, on dead, right? Actually, is it? It's dying, right? We want it already on dying. So case state dying. Right, if we are dying, then we just say sound manager, trigger sound, audio effect ID. Thank you for that broken autocompletion again, Fiiish does. And we're leaking audio, right? We're leaking audio left, right, and center. So we still can collect the coin. The blue coin doesn't have a sound effect, right? Because we want the rain effect. The magnet also needs a special. Whoa. And you see a problem here, right? You see a problem here because they leak forever right now, which is not good. And even when you die, sound fish. Oh. Really? That has 2 eye. That has 2 eyes. And we typed it with 1 eye in the loading code. Probably should have thrown an error, right? But if you die, you get the dying sound. Works for me. That works for me. I wonder if we could just, if the sound manager, right? The sound manager has an update. So for each I mean, it had the auto completion and then didn't do it. So if audio source is not playing, right? Then audio source dot game object wasn't this destroy? We did it here for the pickups, right? We just do a destroy. Okay, fair enough. So we just do a destroy on the game object, right? We want to destroy the whole object. We could limit this and say we only destroy a maximum of 5 per frame or something. We only talk about a few hundred, right? So having an ECS where you pre-cache all the assets is kind of, so you see they disappear after a while, right? Not ideal, but better than leaking them. And this is a temporary solution, right? So this is temporary, and then this is a dying sound, and that disappears as well. So that's better than leaking. Definitely. I'm kind of happy where we are. This is almost launchable, and we still have a bit of time, and we're probably going to launch the Godot version anyway. But This is nice, and we're not gonna do UI sounds for now, right? Because the buttons probably should have. Oh. So we have some polishing to do with dialogues behind dialogues, right? This should not happen. If I open the settings here, the settings should be in front, right? Interesting. Interesting. Oh, problem for another day. So we add the sound manager, and that is work in progress. And I'm sorry, I would love to finish it, but that was planned for tomorrow. So I'm not going to mark this as done, right? But we're going to say Unity start adding sound, right? And that means I wonder. Yes, we're going to finish that up in Unity tomorrow and then switch to Godot. We edited this. I want to remove this distort. At some point, we added the sounds to the addressables with the double I. I thought I fixed that. Didn't I just? Oh, that's the actual file name, right? No, that's the address. Did I? Soundfish des. Soundfish des. I mean, this is the clip name, right? So maybe that's, oh, that's this name here down. Okay, because there's the. Wait, what? This is a bit weird, right? Because oh, now the name here is fixed. Okay, which it was just lagging, so still not sure why. Right? Because sound fish does. Okay. Looks okay to me. Looks like a glitch here. I'm not sure why, but this is Unity, so I'm just gonna ignore it. We have different. We probably should not serialize the face on the background material because it will always change. It will always change in the offset as well. Let's figure out how not to serialize them. We added the audio effect. We added the. Wait, the coin had an effect, right? And a value before. So only this should be new, the other two not. But they're correct, so. One audio effect triggered, yes. We wired that up. We added the effect IDs. We removed the debug lock there, fair enough. We added the sound manager. Probably we should have an audio manager that manages music and sound, not sure. And we trigger the sound if the sound is enabled. You could argue maybe the game player who owns what. It's fine for a small game like this. I'm not sure why we added Unity serialization here. I mean, all we did, we added the invoke here. We should have an audio bus, right? Something that or a general event bus, so you wouldn't do it like this. Yeah, that's the default for the pickup, and we return that. Needs some cleanup, right? This is the audio effects, the sound manager, the sounds. And with that, I will play some Fiiish with sound and music. Sorry for being annoying. With sound and music. Have a fantastic evening. I'm gonna collect a ton of coins and say goodbye for now. Anti out.